Welcome to another edition of the Parents Lounge. I am Jimmy Kaler. I am joined as always by my partner in crime and my co-host, Mr. Jason Gowan.
Hello,
buddy. So it's really funny. So I just bathed kids and cooked dinner and whatever, and then I came in here and it's like, the show starts and stuff. And I'm looking at where you are, and I'd forgotten we had spoken about it, but you are not at your house today.
No, so we've been gone almost a week now. I had our big event we had in Gettysburg this weekend, and then my wife decided that we should go on vacation. So we are literally in Rehoboth, Delaware, and we got married. This is actually where I had my reception, and we got married on the beach, literally out there. So it's like a big oceanfront venue, so you can see as far as you can see, like out into the sea, and there's a crazy lightning storm going on back there. It's pretty nuts, but it's weird being back here, surreal, as I count this as the day I started to die inside. Jamie, this is the day I started to die.
Well, I hope your wife's not watching this, right?
No, she's doing schoolwork. I wouldn't have said it if I knew she was watching.
Well, what's funny is, I mean, you have no excuse because that's your second marriage, so
yes.
I would argue it may be the day that you started to live. I might take your wife's side on this one, my friend.
You're probably right. She's pretty awesome.
I mean, if people have heard old stories about you, you were driving around town with a puppet.
It's a wooden American, Jamie. Let's be PC.
With a wooden American. You also, dude, you did you ate something very special, which I think damaged you to a degree.
Yeah, so here in Rehoboth, Delaware, there's this place called the Ice Cream Store. It's been on Food Network, a million things, Discovery, Travel Channel, all of these different things. And they have a ghost pepper ice cream eating challenge, which I don't know if you've noticed, my voice is a little destroyed today.
I was like, why do you sound so banged up?
It was the ice cream. It destroyed. I sound like Kermit the Frog and Ed Asner had a baby, and like I'm not okay right now. Do you want to see the video?
Ice cream. What does it taste like?
Weirdly enough, strawberry.
Or is that like when you have a stroke and you smell burnt toast? Like, is your body telling you strawberry, but in actuality, it's slowly killing you from the inside out?
No, because I tasted strawberry right off the bat, so I didn't think it was going to be so bad. And then my throat went numb. I have the video. You want to watch?
Yeah. Did you videotaped it?
I did.
All right, let's fire it up. Is it in and ready to go?
Yes, it is.
Because nothing's been happening in my life.
I'm here at the ice cream store in Rehoboth, Delaware, and I'm going to do their ghost pepper ice cream challenge. It's made with literal actual ghost peppers, which is probably going to destroy me, both going in and coming back out. I have to sign a waiver, releasing them from any damage done to me during this. Let's read the waiver, shall we? You are not allowed to do this if you have any pre-existing health conditions. Let me see if mental is on here. No, we're good, but neurological. We'll give it a shot anyway. I have none of the rest of them. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to sign it. I'm not even going to read it. All right, I'm really doing this. I'm not going to lie. I'm actually kind of terrified. I'm going to guess probably I shouldn't put it in my eyes. Anyway, this is literally an actual waiver. All right, I'm going to go do this. Okay, everyone, this is it. It's a very deep red color, as you can see. I actually see the bits of what I'm assuming is the pepper. I'm scared. I don't want to do it. But I have to do it because otherwise Jamie will make fun of me. And I don't want that. For those of you at home, if I die, know that I did this on my own accord. Also, if I weep and cry, don't hold it against me. All right, here we go. A strawberry.
What is it?
It's strawberry, but it's also, oh boy.
Go. What's your favorite?
Okay, I swallowed. have to eat more than just one bite.
Like chocolate and banana.
I'm okay so far. I'm sweating, I think, though.
Chocolate banana. So they're like chocolate.
It has a surprisingly delicious taste. Oh, there's a rich. Oh. There's a rich strawberry flavor. Oh, my throat's going numb. This is fun. Oh my God. Oh, it's got a good. Oh. There's a nice rich strawberry flavor with just a hint of death. Just a hint. Oh, I got a chunk of pepper. It's on my lips. It's on my lips. Oh, cut it. I got a super fatty vanilla. Counteract, it's not helping. I'm just trying to freeze my tongue. So that.
Dude, anything you have to sign a waiver for, I mean, obviously, I doubt that would be binding. Like if it really killed you, I'm pretty sure you could have a lawyer fight that in some way. But I had no idea you were going to do this. And you kind of said, I didn't understand ghost pepper, but you were like, oh, it tastes like strawberry. No, they put strawberry in it. It's strawberry ice cream. Cause you don't have, there's no ghost pepper taco. It's a chicken taco with ghost pepper on it. Like
it came back out in a very awful way. Just an awful, awful way.
That happens to me with Nashville hot chicken does that to me. Where I keep eating it, and I'm like, this is burning, and then the next day I'm like, well, that exited quickly. Nice.
I didn't want to wimp out though.
No, well, you didn't whip out. Like, although you only ate like 2 spoonfuls of it.
It smelled so bad after, like you could smell it in the garbage, just like that sickening. Oh God!
Did anybody else do it? Was it like? And what's the challenge? If you eat the whole thing, what do they give it to you for free or something?
Yeah, you get it for free, and I think you get a T-shirt.
So for destroying your insides, you get a T-shirt.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna be able to talk for a week.
It's crazy, dude. That's so funny. Well, you had a much more exciting week than I did. I mean, my kid's graduating kindergarten tomorrow, and my other daughter is graduating first grade. I love it's a big ceremony. Like tomorrow's a huge ceremony for graduation. It's like graduation. She's graduated from kindergarten. I'd love to see her at like a job interview. Like, well, let's talk about where exactly did you go to kindergarten? Well, I went to this prestigious Catholic school up the street, and I'm educated.
Are they looking to the K to 1? Are they looking specifically there? Is that what that's on their prerequisites now?
I feel like they go back to that point. And remember we talked last week about my daughter's in the talent show? So my daughter's doing the talent show, and I told you she goes, I want to do the talent show. And I was like, yeah, okay. All right. And I kept putting it off thinking, well, so this will fade. Right. And every day she'd be like, no, I want to do the talent show. I was like, oh yeah, whatever. Come to Friday, the deadline day. And she goes, no, I'm doing the talent show. Meltdown, like sobbing, screaming. And I go, well, what exactly are you going to do? She goes, I'm going to sing. And I'm like, since when? When has this been your passion? And she goes, oh, I sing. You didn't know that? And I was like, no, I wasn't familiar with you and your singing. So she said she wanted to do Katy Perry, Firework, which, if you're going to try to sing somebody, Katy Perry's, she doesn't have a 7-octave range or anything. So
no, not at all.
So she made me cut the song, and then I had to send it to the school and loop the end because I had to put it like under 2 minutes or whatever. And so she went to rehearsal on Monday, and I picked her up and I was like, how did rehearsal go? And she goes, it was pretty good. Went okay. And I was like, what? She was like, yeah, it was pretty good. And then the teacher talked to me after, and the teacher said she couldn't do it in front of the rest of the kids or the teachers. Meltdown. And it took like 2 hours for her to like conquer it. And then they had to take her into a separate room with the microphone, and she tried to sing it. And so I had a long talk with her that night. And I was like, look, if you don't you don't have to do this. I don't care. I love you either way, and I'm proud of you. And if you don't want to do it, you don't have to put yourself through this. And she goes, I'm doing it. And I go, okay, but you don't have to. And she goes, oh, I'm doing it. And so tomorrow is her big second rehearsal, and then Thursday the talent is the talent show. And so I have to go. I'm terrified. It's like my first time on stage where I'm like getting the runs and I'm having she's an extension of my nervous system where
right.
her having this unbelievable panic attack about getting on stage, and it's taking me back to all the times I bombed atrociously. And I'm like,
you're having Nam flashbacks?
Yeah, I'm having Comedy Store flashbacks from like 1996 or something. So next week, I'm sure I'll be showing a video, and we'll either be enjoying life, or we'll find the seminal moment in Hannah's life where it all goes awry and she ends up in therapy at 35, and she's like, there was this talent show in second grade, and it didn't go great, and I'm gonna be like a crushed soul of a human. So,
do you think she's gonna go through with it?
I do. Oh, I do. I mean, she's not hitting every note, but the performance is there. And we'll see how it goes. I don't know.
I look forward to seeing how it goes.
Yeah, I'm losing sleep about it. Anyway, let's jump to our show. So here's what's really exciting about tonight, which is the first time we're going to try to do this. We keep having like some celebrity guests and some huge podcasters and stuff, but during the pandemic, what really got me and a bunch of my guys from the Dadlands group through it was we had a Thursday Dadlands hang, and we all poured a drink, and we were in a private Zoom, like 20, sometimes 25 of us, and we just shot the shit. And every week you would come in with like what you thought was the worst story of anything that had happened to anybody, and 6 other dudes would tell stories that were absolutely worse. And you go like, oh, I guess my pandemic's not as bad as I thought I was. So we decided tonight, thanks to your brilliant naming, to do the Council of Dads. So we're just bringing a bunch of my friends in who are normal dudes, trying desperately to get through this thing called fatherhood. So let's bring everybody in and just say hi to everybody.
All righty. We got Jay and Michael.
My buddy Jeff Tully.
Hello.
My buddy John Nixon and Freddie Ballesteros. I know. We should have gone for the full 9 and then Hollywood Squares and stuff. So, Jay, really
we're a very new age Brady bunch.
we're missing. Unfortunately, Alice died and the father died. So there's only 7 of us left. But we're here.
Dan was already dead inside.
Jay, talk about real quick how we got through the pandemic. Jay's a teacher in Baltimore.
We got through it.
No, it's over.
It's done.
You survived.
Are you sure?
No.
God. No. So no, we got through it by trying to make each other laugh. Jamie became our celebrity surrogate father, and we did what everyone else did, which was the best you could with what you had. I mean, there are days where you're just like, this is a freaking mess. And then there's days you're like, hey, we got through this. And then you just go into that existential dread of knowing that tomorrow is another day of this. I really think this was a great group just to bounce ideas off of. And nobody got like too heavy into dad stuff either. It was always just like, make me laugh. It was more like comedy than therapy.
Remember we had Jimmy Schubert came in and just did like a 90-minute, like 2-hour show. And finally we had every guy was like loving it. But the comic was loving it even more because he hadn't done stand-up in like 7 months. And he kept talking and talking. And finally guys were like, hey, and Jimmy Schubert doesn't have any kids. So he just kept going and going. And finally I could see dads starting to peel off and go, hey man, I gotta go. It's been like 2 hours. And Jimmy's still like doing every joke in his repertoire. Wow. And finally, it was like 3 of us left. I was like, Jimmy, I think the show's over, man. You really gotta. But it was one of those nights where everybody was rolling, laughing, even though we were having like the worst year of our lives. Yeah. Mike, I know you had some peculiar instances as we started the pandemic. You were in a unique atmosphere.
Yeah. I was. When COVID hit and we did the shelter in place, I got trapped behind enemy lines, cohabitating with my about-to-be ex-wife and our 2 kids.
Oh, no.
Yeah, right?
Dude, that's not the start of a movie. Like that pitch alone.
That's my pitch.
He's not calling like green lit. That's a green light.
That's the log line, and then hilarity ensues. We did. We were taking our. We beat the COVID rush and decided pre-COVID to get divorced. But then we decided, we'll take it slow for the kids. We have all the time in the world. And right when we were going to split, we got trapped. I will say, it ended up being great. Like it was like a compulsory boot camp, and we learned that we could cohabitate, not kill each other, and we could parent the girls. And it gave the girls this really intensive, like 9-month dose of having us around the house full time. And we got to start talking to them about it. And then finally at the end of last year, we made the split. So now we're just, I'm in my undisclosed location, divorced dad domicile. We started the new year fresh, but man, for a while there, it was feeling like the thing, like who's in that body? What is happening? But it was fine.
Is that Boston? Is that Boston over your shoulder?
Yeah. The Back Bay.
We're both from Boston. We're both Boston guys, even though we've lived in LA and we both bartended on Main Street together forever. But I'm sure you look at that picture and it takes you back to go like, oh, remember? You put it up there deliberately. Right. Just go, oh,
when I had hopes and dreams and no kids. It really was a nice commiserating group to have all the dads and dadlands during COVID. And I feel like we're bonded, and years from now, we're going to look back on it like we're the Five Bloods. We're going to reunite, and it's going to be great. I look forward to having a toast to it someday.
Honestly, in 9 years, we'll probably have not even 9. We'll just have the next pandemic.
Right, exactly.
It'll be, I think, polio.
Nowhere to go.
Back is it? My buddy Jeff Tully, who actually, as soon as the pandemic hit, his world got even busier.
Yeah, I work for Vin DeBona Productions, America's Funniest Videos, and so we were one of the few. I probably worked at like 35 different TV shows and production companies over the past, almost 20 years. And this is like the one job that I worked that wouldn't have shut down during the pandemic. When I was looking back, I'm like I was thinking about every other show, every other production company, they all would have folded you down for the pandemic. But this one, the library is right here. They own everything. And all we had to do is, hire all of our talented comedian friends who do VO, and we were just kept going. And so we're shooting people from home. We're having people use their iPhones in the beginning. I mean, just for everything that we were doing on 3 camera shoots in our studio, we just sent people a ring light and an iPhone. And we're like, just do it. Do a 10-episode show from your basement. Fine. And we did, like 300 hours of content since this whole thing started. It's crazy.
It is crazy. I would see we'd all be like losing our minds. Like I was out of work for, a year or whatever, as most of my friends were. And then I'd see Jeff's post on like Facebook. I'm out of my mind. I've got 57 shows. I need voice. I need these guys. Here's all the talent. It was like a casting list. I was like, dude.
My Facebook page is the de facto Craigslist right now. It's literally just pictures of my kid or postings for jobs that don't pay a lot of money, but they'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Learn the rope. Want to learn the ropes?
Yeah. Want a little tape for the reel? Hey, I got it.
But it seemed like you guys were kind of in a great place with the family autopilot. Like it seemed like as long as you were staying busy, that the family life was going great.
Yeah. The summer, through August, I had to work from home. And then after August, I was able to come in here and work in the studio. And literally a minute more at home and it probably would have got really bad because we only have a 2-bedroom apartment. So I was stuck in the bedroom and the online learning and screaming all day. And then the daughter knows, she knows that if I'm in a Zoom meeting, she pretty much has a license to not have to do homework. Right. Your kids, they know if you're in a Zoom meeting and they throw a fit, mom's going to be like, okay, fine, go fucking play your Roblox or whatever. And so, my wife was about to kill me. So it was perfect timing. I got to move back into the studio here. I was one of the first people back in this whole place. And I just had the whole entire building them myself, basically. I don't know what the question was, but that was.
You should have called me, dude. I would have come and lived with you over there. I would have taken one of those rooms.
It really felt like I was getting away with something, and that was a whole nother thing. I'd come home and I'd be like, why are you so pissed off to my wife? It's just like, I've been here for 11 hours with this little fucker who's like one day Brent shows me the history. I'm sure you guys are having the same problem. During class for an hour, right? I think during class for an hour, this was right in the beginning, Wrigley and her friend had texted to each other 192 times in an hour. And that's that's what they're doing now. They are literally, they're all on YouTube and learning at the same time. And, it's nonsense.
Yeah, it's totally nonsense, dude. We're the same, and I to a fault. Like, it makes me feel guilty when I have to do something. I'm like, here's your iPad, play this cat game. I'm sitting there terrified she's gonna I'm gonna get a credit card bill, and it's gonna be like, oh, she bought $2,400 worth of cat toys, for this game or whatever.
My daughter's turned in. She's so. I mean, it really is a heavy heroin level addiction. I know it's kind of cliche, but she will literally she's turned into a street urchin in the house. I'll walk by her and she'll bump into me. She's like, "Oh, sorry," and then I'll walk 5 more feet and I'll be like, "Where's my phone?" And then she's
Dude, she's the artful dodger.
Yeah, she's the artful dodger, man. Totally pickpocket.
Yeah. They should redo Oliver in current time, right? It'd be hilarious where kids are just had the street gang going. So
just give me 5 coins. I'll do anything.
Our buddy John did not have the greatest of pandemics, I don't believe.
But
your job didn't go either way. You kind of do IT security and stuff, right?
Yeah. So I've had nothing but job security the entire time. I think the worst thing for me was really the first month and a half that the pandemic hit. That was back in March of last year, and no one at all was prepared for it network-wise. So I work at a company that's got easily 100,000 employees, and 100,000 employees out of that, maybe 95,000 of them work in an office. So when they told everybody you have to work at home, they didn't tell everybody you can only issue so many of these little things that let people work from home a day. So it took us 2 weeks to get more of those, and then we were still under this limit. So the entire time we've got people whatever base necessity you would toilet paper and paper towels, when you're in a grocery store and people are fighting for that, exact same thing, but the ability to log in to your computer from home instead of having to go into an office. And they wouldn't even let you set foot in an office. The only people that were assured to be able to work were the people who answered the phone calls of people who had technical issues, so that we could tell them there is nothing we can do for you. That was my first 6 weeks before I even got back to doing anything like fixing a printer or, telling somebody why their voicemail was broken or anything else. It was just, sorry.
Hold on, back up. Fixing a printer? Am I supposed to? Is that a code? What?
No, fixing a printer.
Oh, I think you said fixing a printer. Did anyone else?
No, I mean,
I thought it was some gag where you when people put their face on the printer. I thought you were putting.
No, that's scanners. That's scanners.
Oh, Dick Scanner.
Yeah.
That's an industry
listen,
term.
you're IT security, man. What's happening? They're breaking into the meat processing, the gas lines. What are we? What do we got? 2 years left before we're all gone. What happened? Yes, you, John.
John.
You're the IT security guy, right?
Yeah, but not at food. I work in insurance. I don't know, man. I'm tired. My boys ran me hard. I had to go to the pool. So I may have missed my question.
See, and then you go, oh, you see John, who's in charge of IT security somewhere, and then you go, oh, that's why.
I get it. Yeah.
Now I get it. Now I know how we're being ransacked.
Don't rule out that he's the hacker.
John's he's pasting his password somewhere. Freddie got into woodworking, and I think he was living in a car. Weren't you living in the car in the driveway for a couple hours a night, pretty much?
Yeah, that was whenever we would do our Zooms. Yeah, I was in the garage in the car. It was just easier because I didn't have to mute myself the entire time. But
Were you afraid to say things in front of your wife?
No, it's just talking about the kids. Or you were gonna hear the kids. and then you know how that goes.
Oh, I know exactly how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump to some
I think-
stories because you guys all wrote. I asked you guys. Well, first of all, it's funny because Jason didn't really do all that stuff with us, and then Jason and I met. We ended up doing the show together, and he was pandemicked with someone who had to really be careful, right? Jason, you were kind of under house arrest, pretty much.
We couldn't go anywhere. Like everything had to be curbside and sanitized because my wife had a stroke 6 days after our twin 2-year-olds were born. So we were like, her cardiologist was like, had us living on like we're walking on eggshells for everything, and like I didn't know what to believe, and like her cardiologist had done such a great job, so I was terrified all the time. But at the same time, I was trapped at home, never being out of the same four walls as two soulless twin 2-year-olds and a heathen 5-year-old. It was just, I'm not going to recover from it, I don't think.
It's so funny. I kind of have amnesia. Like I had the worst year of my life. And I ran into a guy at the park today, and we had gotten into, like, we're pretty good friends, and our kids are really good friends. We had political differences that kind of boiled over, not to like, fuck you, I'm going to kill you or anything, but like, dude, seriously? Really? You? And so we had huge, and we kind of ran into each other, and he was still kind of, and I go, dude, I'm over it. I'm not doing any of it anymore. None of it. I'm not getting involved. I don't want to talk about it. We're going to put it in the past. I'm going to move on. And I've kind of had this like glow where people like, I feel like it's when a guy got knocked out and then he came to and was like, what happened? Don't worry about it, man. You know, it's like a blackout drunk where you're like, what happened last night? You know what? Sometimes you don't want to know. Just let it. That's nature saying, you know what? Did I write a book? No, Jamie, you didn't write a book. Did I paint the house? No, Jamie, no. You woke up and your shoes still on and your pants are around your ankle. But it wasn't as bad as you think it was. Like, it was okay. So I kind of feel like that. Like, I don't know. I've got this numb amnesia coming out. Do you guys feel the same way coming out of the whole thing?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Oh, I absolutely do.
Yeah, there's definitely stretches. I would say like sometimes like weeks or month clips where you're like, and even times like I'll lay in bed, I'm like, what the hell did we do yesterday? What did I do today? Like it, you know, you kind of just went on autopilot, I think, for a little while.
I definitely went on autopilot. Jay, I mean, Jay, you were teaching, you were homeschooling teaching, man.
Yeah.
You're back now, right? And doing graduation?
Yeah, I've been back in the building since February. And luckily I don't have to go to graduation, which is tomorrow, oddly enough. But I get to work another track meet. So I'm good with that. That's fine. I'll sweat. I just won't do it with a giant polyester poncho on.
By the way, can we all talk about where Jay is? Mike, you kind of nailed it on the head where Jay is, his backdrop there.
It's like an escape room, like the beginning of a Saw movie.
Looks like that
I
scene
would like to
in,
point out. I'd like to point out that I am that guy who spent no money during the pandemic to improve their camera background. Like nothing. I didn't get a backdrop. No lights, no nothing. I don't care.
If you art directed it, that's exactly what my backdrop would look like. I just would like your face better. But the backdrop could not be. I would get rid of the red and just keep it as drab, like I was in the basement. I'd put a couple more horrific things back there, like a sled, like an old sled from like Citizen Kane or something.
Yeah, rosebudded up.
Rosebuds back there or something crazy. Jeff's got the shower curtain, which is fantastic. I'm just blue. I'm in a blue void. I try to stay in a blue void. All right, so here's the game. I asked you guys all to send me here's 3 statements about the pandemic and my kids. 2 of them are true, right? And 1 are false. So here's the game. I'm going to read them, and then you have to guess which one's the false one. And this is from Mike Beatrice. Mike, put your hand up. All right. Here's Mike's 3 things. 2 are true. Number 1, I lost my daughter in a bookstore. Number 2, I lost my daughter at Disneyland. Number 3, I lost my daughter in my own house. I will tell you, it's so funny because I didn't give you guys any really examples or anything, but each one of you guys came back and most of your things were like, I lost my child. Mike,
I
that's
just-
why I chose Mike first, because Mike literally his three things were like, you obviously you keep losing your children, dude.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least twice.
At least 2 out of 3 times.
Right.
So I want to make a guess here.
I do too.
I want to say that Disneyland is your lie, because it is like if you lost your kid at Disneyland, you are either the least talented parent or the greatest escape artist who's walked the earth. That is it, because they have cameras over everything.
Total agreement with him. I lost my wallet once I lost my wallet in Disneyland, and I was like, that's that. And like 20 minutes later, they called my name over the intercom and they gave me my wallet back. Like that place, it's not the happiest place on earth by a long shot, but it might be the safest place on earth.
One time I was at Disneyland with school, and they left me there, and they had to drive back.
The whole the school, there was like a school field trip.
They left on a bus and everything, and it was me and one other buddy, and we were supposed to meet, and they left us because they're like, you didn't show up on time. And I was like, I was 5 minutes late, and the bus drove away, and we sat outside of Disneyland for like an hour and a half waiting for someone to come and pick us up. So you can get lost there, and you can get left behind.
The bookstore is the one that catches me off guard. Like,
that's the one I think it is.
Too real.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay with the bookstore too. I lost my daughter in my own house. That's true. I didn't lose her. She was hiding and she wouldn't come out, and she hid really well. And I looked in that closet 4 times, and she was like tucked and snuggled up. And my wife was running around the block, like melting down, dialing 911. And Hannah was hiding in our closet, like little shit. I knew she was in there, but I couldn't find her. And I was like reaching my arm up behind every different place, like in the whole house. And to her credit, later I was like, not in front of her mother, but I was like, hey, dude, seriously, in hide and seek, epic turn. Like, could not find her. What else?
I definitely think you lost your kid in your own house. I mean, I've totally lost my kid. And, 5 minutes later, turns out he was behind the shed. So I totally think you lost your kid in your own house. I buy that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go definitely with. I'm going with bookstore.
Yep.
Jason,
I think it's the bookstore as well.
John, you're going with Disneyland. Freddie,
what? Bookstore.
Jeff,
Disney.
All right, Mike. What's the answer?
Disney is the lie. I lost my daughter in a bookstore, a big giant Barnes and Noble with the escalators and stuff. So, and then and I lost my daughter in my house, which isn't that uncommon, but it's where I found her because I had all the doors locked, windows closed, couldn't find her anywhere, right? So now I go outside, close the door behind me. I'm looking in the yard, fenced yard, absolutely unbelievable, like nowhere, right? And this is going on for a while. I cannot find my daughter, and she's like 3. And I'm panicking. I'm like, how did this happen? What happened? Home invasion. I don't know. I got to call my wife. Then I hear the dogs barking. I'm like, dogs. The dog door. So I go out into the backyard and I still can't find her. But the dogs are just barking over. We raise chickens. We have chickens. There's a chicken run and a chicken coop. All the chickens are out of the chicken coop. The dogs are barking. I'm like, wait a minute. I go over. She went through the dog door, through the yard, up the ramp, into the chicken coop, and was in a nesting box.
That's impressive. That is impressive.
And that's how COVID started.
Exactly. It was a chicken to 3-year-old transmission. I knew that at the time. Yeah,
well, we got the chickens at a discount from this place called Wuhan Pet Store. I don't know.
I'm not getting involved. I'm not. I told you, I'm not involved in any of that. I won't be part of it. I don't care. I won't play that game. All right, here's Jason's 3 stories. Jason.
Yes.
Number 1, he open mouth kissed April the giraffe with tongue for roughly 15 to 20 seconds before the handler said, "Okay, that's enough, bro." Number 2, he farted in an elevator that was so bad Linda Blair from The Exorcist, who was also a passenger, got out 2 floors early and took the stairs. Wow, this is really interesting. Number 3, while filming a paranormal television show, Jason forgot to wear underwear, and while shooting, his pants got caught and ripped, exposing his ass. That one's definite. That one definitely happened. It's either the elevator or he kissed a giraffe. He definitely kissed a giraffe, right?
Yeah, I mean, from working here at America's Funniest Videos, I know for a fact, like, I've seen 1,000 people kissing giraffe videos. They have really long, crazy tongues, and they love to do that. I don't know why, but they do it. So I think it's the middle one. It's too specific.
It's too specific. Yeah, if you're gonna lie, you can't be that specific. I'm going with Linda Blair.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. I mean, just with a giraffe, like, Jason, I don't know much about you, but I'm pretty sure you've never had to do curious things to burrows in Mexico to get home. So if you did, there's no way you're going to take a giraffe tongue for 15 to 20 seconds.
I don't believe Linda Blair would have taken the stairs. So that's my choice.
She would have. I'm pleased. She saw some stuff in The Exorcist. She's definitely
no more stairs after that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I mean, she'd go down like, you know.
Is everybody in the same boat? Linda Blair?
Yeah, Linda Blair.
Yeah, Linda
She's
Blair.
not taking the stairs. She's like 75.
It's actually the underwear in the paranormal. That did not happen.
Way!
Wow.
All right. Tell the Linda Blair story.
So we were doing a paranormal convention, TAPSCon in Florida, and I had a lot of tacos, and I was in the elevator, and I felt the stomach cramp starting. She got in the elevator. We were just kind of chit-chatting, and I'm like, no, please, not now. And then this just lone baritone wah, right in the elevator, and it was awful. And then she got out on this floor, but there was another floor in between us. And when I got out, like, there are 2 floors, I guess, between us, and I was the only one still in the elevator, meaning somebody hit that floor and didn't make the rest of the trip. So Linda Blair got out early because it was a sinker. It was not good.
I was at Casa Vega drinking one night when Linda Blair was there, and I was kind of like, oh, Linda Blair. That was the extent of my Linda Blair. But honestly, I didn't rip a big fart and make her leave. So.
Well, I did, and she didn't like it.
Did she like nod to you? Was there like a eye contact where she was like, I know you did that?
Well, I can tell you the conversation ended abruptly. She did not want to keep talking. It seemed in general she'd like to hold her breath for the duration of her ride.
All right. What happened with the giraffe? You made out. Apparently, Jeff's like. The great thing about Jeff is if you think there's a stupid video that you have somewhere where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I captured this one little crazy thing. Jeff's like, I've seen 1,000 of those.
Yeah, Jeff, I mean, it happened. I mean, and April was aggressive.
Yeah.
And you stuck your tongue out too.
Well, I had a carrot in my mouth. I was trying to be, I don't know. I was trying to be funny, I guess, but it ended up being, we had a moment. I was sorry to hear her passing.
I will tell you, as far as parenting stories, none of your stories about your kids, man. What exactly does that say about you? Mike's were like, and to be fair, Mike, you lost your children a lot. And we know that. But it was at least about your kids. Jason was like, nah, enough about the kids. Here's 3 stories about me.
Didn't you even say parenting in the email?
I did. I said, so tell me some parenting crazy stories. And
well, April is a mother. I'm going to use that as my excuse.
Linda Blair is a woman, so she's a human, and a giraffe it's an animal. So we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump to Jay Check. Jay, here's his 3. You ready? Number 1, someone who didn't work on the labor and delivery floor came in and swaddled our baby. I love that. Makes me laugh so hard. Number 2, my daughter tackled a Christmas tree when she was 3. Number 3, my son projectile vomited on a cross-country flight directly into someone's cocktail. I mean, that one, I feel like that's happened to every one of us. Tackled a Christmas tree when she knocked the tree over in the house, is my guess. And someone who didn't work on the labor and delivery floor came in and swallowed our baby. Freddie, what do you got? What's your answer?
I I gotta say the third one because the first one could be your mother-in-law. Doesn't work in the hospital, came in to swaddle the baby. And then the second one, that just sounds like a 3-year-old thing to do, is tackle down a Christmas tree. So we'll go with the third one.
I love that your first one is like, I love that you were so specific, like Murder, She Wrote, where it's like, well, I feel, officer, that a mother could have easily come in and swaddled the baby.
Jessica Fletcher down there.
Jessica Fletcher. What do you think, John?
Well,
Says, gave my newborn son someone else's breast milk.
Yeah, no, so I was actually just thinking about the hospital one because I try not to think about the hospital when my boys were born because every second of it was terrible. So, I mean, was it like directly like a sniper shot into the cop, or was it just kind of like shotgun blast? Most of it went in.
Just it. But I can't really tell you. I mean, it's, you know.
You have to go off what he says. That one's striking me as a little too specific about the cocktail, but I'm going with number 3, the projectile vomited. Mike?
Yeah, I'm going with that one too because I really want the random employee from another wing in the hospital swaddling your baby to be true. Really, I'm pulling for that one.
Oh, that one. It would be funny if that person was also swaddled and then just kept walking out of the hospital with the baby.
I'm picturing like custodial staff with a key ring. I get that. I'll swaddle that for you.
Did you guys have my child was like, I feel like they were immediately tagged and fingerprinted and like, it was pretty specific. Do you remember like when we were kids? Are we even sure we are the children of our parents? Because back in like the 60s, did they just go like, just take this one. This one's fine. Doesn't matter. Take whichever one. Like I wonder.
It looks similar. Yeah.
I don't know. There had to have been mix-ups, right? On Earth, has to.
It has to be.
Mathematically speaking, there has to be somebody who went home and they mixed them up. Has to.
They don't give us the armbands and LoJack the kids because it never happened.
That's exactly.
That's true, right?
Exactly right. Mike. If it never happened, yes, it was a LoJack, right? It was like a LoJack thing or something. And the whole wing, like, it was so funny. It's like Krugerrands and newborn children are just really, and like diamond, like very specifically protected.
Retina scan in and out.
Did everyone put their guess in?
I didn't. I don't. It can't be two. It can't be the second one because my 2-year-old tries to carry a 56 beer cooler to the pool anytime I mention the word. I'm gonna go with vomit.
Wait, your kid tries to carry a what?
Like a 56 a cooler, like a beer cooler that has wheels and a thing. Like whenever we say pool, he grabs that and wants to carry that to the pool because it's just so much easier to carry that than, well, not carrying 56 beers, but it holds a lot of stuff.
Yeah, see, I thought you meant carrying 56 beers. I'm like, you got the coolest freaking kid ever, John. Like,
no,
he's Dad,
don't discourage that boy.
Well, no, I'm just saying
it's ready to go.
No, I'm just saying, like, physically, he's very wee, and the cooler probably weighs 4 times than he.
Have you put 56 cans in that cooler?
Not yet. I think we got about 20 in there on Saturday, but we were out there for a while.
Well, you have goals to reach. All right, Jay, what's the answer?
All right, the lie is the projectile vomiting because I would never take my baby on a freaking plane, man.
All right, you're out. You're out then, dude. That's funny. What? So your daughter tackled the Christmas tree. Tell us about the swaddling story.
Oh, so yeah, my wife had her. We were in the hospital for a week when my daughter was born because it was just an absolute nightmare. But yeah, no. At one point, somebody who came in to deliver food. She was not one of the labor and delivery nurses. She delivered food, and my daughter was squirming. She goes, "Oh, I got that." I swear, she may have actually put her foot up there to yank on that blanket and wrap my daughter up and handed her to us. And she left the room. I looked at my wife. I was like, "Does she work here?" She's like, "I have no clue." Like, we literally had no idea if this woman actually worked at the hospital.
Wow. Was she a good swaddler? Do you guys remember when you get your first I got my first swaddling lesson. And I was like, I'm pretty good at this.
Yeah.
Making a burrito.
Literally the best swaddle I've ever seen. Hands down. This woman could be insane wandering the streets of Annapolis, Maryland. Best swaddler out there.
Maybe that's her thing. She breaks.
Go ahead, Jason.
I was gonna say maybe that's her thing. She breaks into hospitals and swaddles other people's kids and babes.
Like that's her gift to the world, and she's like, "I'm this," and I mean that's almost a show. She could be a Batman villain, like the Swaddler or something, where she
Just some grizzled cop out there smoking a cigarette in Annapolis, like, yeah, we got another one, Sanchez, another one.
She's like,
another warm baby.
had you ever heard? I'd never heard the word swaddle really until I had kids.
Yeah.
And then it was the whole SWAT. It was technique and it was crazy. All right, let's jump. Freddie Ballesteros. Here's his 3. You ready? Number 1. Daughter was lost in Cardinal Stadium in Arizona during a graduation when she was 7.
Oh
I
man.
keep losing it. I mean, honestly, we had to look out some moms one week, and I doubt one woman's gonna go. Literally not one.
It'll just be all like, my husband lost. Yeah.
Right.
That's exactly right, Jeff. It's going to be the exact same stories, but it won't start with daughter was lost. It will go, my husband lost my daughter in Cardinal Stadium in Arizona during graduation. There is something like I never lost my kids in Target, but they were definitely outside of my immediate vicinity many times. And my wife would be like, are you watching them? I go, Hannah! And then they would come running. Like, it's like, do we need to helicopter them all the time? I mean, maybe in Cardinal Stadium in Arizona. Yeah. But otherwise, not so much. All right. Number 2. On the way to drop off my daughter at school, she slipped and landed on my youngest son's foot, breaking it. Definitely plausible. Number 3. My middle son woke up during the night, unlocked the front door, and was just hanging out on the front porch.
Oh.
First of all, I will tell you that at the age of 5, I don't remember this at all, but my parents told me that apparently I lived in Winchester, Massachusetts, and the neighbors called my parents and were like, hey, where's your son? And they were like, oh, he's up in bed. And they were like, we don't think he is. We think he's on our front lawn sleeping. And I was a blanket kid, and I took a blanket, and I guess I just left the house and walked next door and was laying on their front yard sleeping with my blanket over me. And my parents were like, what? And then they walked out and were like, holy cow, and then brought me back in the house. So, I mean, that one I feel like is going to be true, but I don't know. What do you think, Jason?
I think the stadium one is false.
I mean, it's 7. Sketchy. The broken foot, it's worded odd. On the way to drop, do you ever play Balderdash?
Yeah.
You can always tell the lie because they word it wrong. It's worded off, where it's like, on the way to drop off my daughter at school, she slipped and landed on my youngest son's foot, breaking it. Maybe. Dave Schrader says number 1 is false. He's going with Arizona Cardinals.
I agree.
Is that what you think? Is everybody Arizona?
Yeah.
No, I think it's the foot.
You think it's a foot?
I think it's the foot too.
I'm going with the daughter. I think that it actually happened, but the location is wrong.
Oh, interesting.
Wow, he really baited and switched you on that one. Look, Arizona. Nah.
Yeah.
All right, Freddie, what's the story?
It's the third one. It's the third one.
Oh.
He did not leave the house and hang out on the porch. Actually, that was my sister. My sister did that when she was little, and she wasn't outside of the porch. She actually walked 2 blocks away to 7-Eleven. So she was about 6. She went to 7-Eleven at 6 years old at 1 o'clock in the morning. And my mom found out about an hour later when the cop showed up, and they're like, hey, we got your kid. And the only reason why they knew it was her is because San Fernando PD is kind of small, so they kind of knew us, and so they knew her. But yeah, but the Cardinal Stadium one, that was true. She kind of got away from us in a big crowd when everybody went down to go see the graduates, and she just disappeared. And then 10 minutes later, the crowd parted.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's off. That's what happens. That's why he's losing his kids. He can't maintain a connection. It's so
Freddie,
funny.
you got to pay that bill. They're dropping in and out when you decide.
We have these lost children stories that are it is kind of an era of our time where we say like, oh, I lost my kid in Arizona Cardinal Stadium for like 7 minutes. My mother in 75 probably lost me for like 4 to 6 hours somewhere. Like
that's the thing. When we were kids, we were pretty much lost the entire day because it was like, just come back and the lights are off. The street lights are off. So they didn't know where. So we were technically lost the entire day growing up.
But we weren't really lost until the streetlights came on and we didn't get home. And then they were like, well, you're late. My mother had a cowbell. They rang it in the neighborhood. And when you heard the cowbell, you better go home or you're in serious trouble. It is a different era where like we constantly know where. It's so funny that you guys all put that like in one of your things, like I lost my kid. It's not like it's Raising Arizona and you left the car seat on the car and drove on the freeway. Like we didn't do that. But I mean, I remember having those panic attacks when I first had the kid where I was like, I would get out of the car and I'd go into a store and go, shit, is the kid in the back of the car? And then I go look in the car and go like, oh no, the kid's at home.
Oh yeah.
Bring the kid or something. But we have this crazy thing. I don't think my parents ever felt that. I don't know.
I definitely went out and checked the backseat of the car a few times. I'd sit there going to teach my first period class and I'd be sitting there and I'd go, hey, I'll be right back, guys. I'm like, I'm going to go make sure there's not a baby in the back of my car.
Isn't that weird? Like you
do that slow, calm walk out the door and then run to your car. Like, oh my God, there's a baby back there.
So funny, dude.
I've never left my child in the car, as far as you know, but I will say I'm very grateful that the traffic app, Waze, when you get to your destination, it puts up an alert. Don't forget to check your back seat for children.
Yeah, that was right. They did do that. I totally forgot that. They did. And again, Mike, to the only reason they did that is why?
It happened.
Because it happened. It's so funny.
A lot. It happened, a lot.
One time, my wife read some story about some kid who got killed. He was in the dryer. They put him in the dryer. Some jackass. He jumped in the dryer. And I mean, my wife was really like pondering, like maybe we should put a clothesline in the backyard and not have a dryer. Like dryers can kill kids. No, they can't really. And I guess what would happen? We get rid of the dryer. We put a clothesline out, and then some kid in Upper Michigan would hang himself on a clothesline, and then she'd be like, "We got to get rid of the clotheslines." Well, so we're just going to wear the same clothes we're not washing clothes anymore, Jamie. It's too dangerous for the kids. Like it's such a knee-jerk reaction to every little like one story. There's a billion people. It's like one story. My wife's like, "That's it. We got to get rid of that. It's too dangerous."
Have you ever had an unbalanced load doing laundry? Like, how the hell do you not hear a kid rumbling around in there? Yeah, it's a kid, not a freaking cat.
Wow.
They're eating Tide
Pods. In the fifth quarter, you'd notice.
That's right. That's right. That's funny. All right, here we go. Here's the next one. Is John. Here's his 2 truths and 1 lie. Number 1. While at the zoo, by the way, John is a little, he thinks it's like Dickensian era where you're getting paid by the word because
Eat shit, Jamie.
Everyone's like, why is Moby Dick so long? Because in those days they got paid by the word. And so they wrote every word they could. It was like, it doesn't have to be that long. It doesn't have to. Here's John's 3. While at the zoo, one of the boys picked up a dead pigeon and carried it around several minutes before we noticed because he thought it was okay since it's the zoo and maybe it was just sleeping for him.
Aww.
Number 1.
Sure.
That definitely happened.
Yeah, definitely.
On our first family trip, this is number 2. On our first family trip, I was not aware that our kid was at the stage for intro to crawling and subsequently rolled about a foot off of the bed when I left him in to pee and had a bruise on all the pictures we took. That happened to every one of us. Mm-hmm. I mean, the first time your kid rolled off the bed, we all remember it vividly, and then we just didn't tell our wives about it. That's pretty much how that went down. And wife, what happened to the kid? I don't know. I don't know what that was.
Changing table.
She was gone for like 10 minutes, so she knew.
Right off our bed. So that one's true. We know
that is true,
dude.
Right, look, in fairness, I've been drinking. I'm sorry. I would not. I'll keep myself muted. Shit,
dude. So now we know. We know it's either 1 or 3.
So we got a 50-50 shot.
While on his first flight in the midst of diaper-free potty training, my eldest says he has to go to the potty at the point where we had to secure in seats to land. As soon as we touched down and we could stand up, he just up and peed right on the floor of the plane in front of our seat. I mean, that definitely happened. Actually, now they all feel like they all happened.
Yeah.
The pigeon one is so specific. So specific. I don't know. Jason, what do you think?
I think one happened, but I think it's a different animal. Because
I do feel like it's one of those things where the story happened, but just not to that kid.
Because he mentioned something similar before about somebody else's, so I think he pulled a bait and switch on this.
So you think the kid did not pick up the animal? I mean, the second one with peeing on the flights, or the third one, and we know because he's been drinking that number 2 is true.
Yes.
Yeah, and that happened to all of us, where the kid fell off. I'm going with the zoo and the pigeon.
I'm going to go with the peeing on the airplane because I don't care how developmental minded you are in trying to help your child achieve full potty training, and they're right on the cusp. You still put the diaper on for the flight. I don't care if it sets them back a month.
Like an astronaut.
I wear diapers on flights.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
right?
just the way you go.
I'm wearing one right now.
Rabbit, I don't know.
I think that's a lot.
He seems
That's just
very,
the
very
peppers.
chill and just whatever. And I think he passed some of that DNA onto his kid. I think his kid's like that too. Just like, fucking, let's just do this.
All right.
So I feel like you would have heard about that on CNN. That would have been like middle of the day breaking news.
I mean, when you got to go, right?
Yeah.
I
All
say
right,
it's one.
Answer.
I say
What's
one
the answer,
flight.
sir?
Plot twist. They're all true, but the third one happened to my wife while I stayed here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, makes sense.
I was waiting for somebody to do that because actually I was doing the same where I was like, just do 3 true ones. They are all true. They seem so real. What happened to the zoo when the kid was carrying the dead animal around?
Well, so when we the zoo here, it's Phoenix. It's an outdoor desert zoo. So we're walking in, and I'm getting coffee, and Pretty and the other family we're with are just hanging out. So there's this little clubhouse where the kids could play, pre-COVID, of course. And we just let them go because, hey, it's a nice few minutes where they're screaming, and it's really not our problem. So, the screaming isn't so much screaming as it is laugh screaming, which is pretty much the worst. But I didn't realize it until 10 minutes later. I'm, 2 tears in my coffee, and Sully's just sitting here just, flapping around a dead pigeon. Walk over, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Why do you think this is okay? He's like, I was trying to wake him up. I mean, he's at the zoo. I thought this, we pet the stingrays. And I'm just sitting here like, stingrays, like not dead pigeons, not dead birds. It's dead, son. It's dead. Like he had to learn about life and death because he couldn't bother to leave a bird on the ground for, any amount of time.
Have you read Of Mice and Men? Just a really because I feel like your son has a Lenny-esque vibe to him. Am I the only person?
We're sure he found it dead, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm pretty sure.
Mistakes were made.
I mean, it's no one's
such a good take. I can't believe I didn't think of that turn. That's the joke of the show.
Anybody can feed the animals that seed that comes out of the coin thing, but feeding them a live bird, I mean,
Wait, it's gonna be okay. Go to sleep. Go to sleep, pigeon.
When doves cry.
That's a guy who's been doing a lot of online content right there.
King of the dad jokes.
That's such a good joke.
Jamie, Pretty just chimed in on her side of the story for Sully peeing on the flight. She said, and I was not about to put a diaper on him. It was totally flight attendant's fault for pumping him full of juice.
To be fair,
He was overserved. He was overserved.
Listen, we know bartenders who got citations and got fined for overserving people, and I think maybe they need to start doing it with flight attendants and children, and go, hey, dude, kid doesn't need 4 juices. Pull back. Just pull back, man. That's what they do. That's really funny. My kid, I mean, she like chose the flight to like just explosive shit all over the place. It was like pouring over the edge of the diaper. My wife, we were holding her, just trying to like hose her off. Train wreck. People next to us were like, I love when people like look at you like with dirty looks, and you know me, I'm like, I don't care. We're all here. This is happening. Either get comfortable or this is going to be even worse. I don't know what to tell you. That's funny. All right, here we go. Mr. Tully, Jeff Tully, here's his 3. I mean, this guy's a professional, by the way. That's why I brought him towards the end. Here we go. Number 1. Came home from the hospital with my new baby daughter to find an eviction notice on the front door. God, I hope that one's true. That's such a good story. Number 2, my 10-year-old daughter asked me the other day, Dad, did you know there is a part of the female anatomy that is designed just for pleasure? I have 2 little girls, and I'm terrified that is actually true. Number 3, convinced my wife to name my daughter after a football player. I love these 3. I love them so much, dude. All right, Jay, what do you think? Eviction notice on the door. Part of the anatomy designed for pleasure. Named his daughter after a football player.
I'm going to go with number 2. I could totally see eviction happening. I could totally see the football player thing happen. I'm going to go number 2. It's 2 out there. 2 out there. Which means it's probably true, but I don't know.
So you're going with number 2 is the anatomy.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that one as the lie.
All right, Mike?
Or is it Dad? Maybe I just don't want it to be true.
I don't want that. Nobody wants that to be true.
I'm going to go with that one too, because I think wherever she would have picked that up, they wouldn't have said it was designed it was not designed for pleasure, designed for creating life.
Well, I think, if you got a hold of it like a Cosmopolitan magazine and it was like, here's the 25 things that, part of your body that's for pleasure. I don't know. So you're going with that one too?
Yeah. We'll see.
All right. I'm going with the football player. I don't think any human man could convince a woman to name a child after a football player. I don't think that's true. John?
I'm really stuck, honestly.
We'll skip you. I'll pull you right out of the. Don't worry, you're out of the group. Then that's the end of it. If you're stuck, you're out. What do you think?
Number 2. I'm going with 2 as well.
Which one's number 2?
Pleasure.
Designed for pleasure.
I was checking you. I was about to boost you out of this thing too. All right, let's bring him back in. All right, what do you think, John?
I'm just going to go with the eviction. I just don't want it to be true. I mean, I don't have a joke or anything. I just want Jamie to be wrong.
It explains it now.
Yeah.
Dude, what are you, my wife? You just want me to be wrong? That's terrible. That's a terrible way to do things. I'm going to say the football player. Did everyone chime in?
I'm debating between 2 and 3. I don't know. I'm stuck.
They're good. I love these. They're very specific. Not, I lost my kid here. I lost my kid there. I lost my kid somewhere else. I lost my kid.
Hey, ow.
Hey, slow down. What do you think, Jason? Call it.
So I convinced my wife to name my kids after Marvel superheroes. So I think 3 is probably true. I think it might be 2, the pleasure.
All right, Jeff, call it.
Before I give you the answer, I just want to say that I can't find the text right now. But when I was coming up with the things, I asked my wife if she could remember anything, and she said, "Tell them about make it the time you lost your daughter at the skirball center." I didn't use it.
They did, right? They really.
Worst place to lose it. And also, it was all mom, so it was really, really horrifying because I was the only dad there. But anyway, the not true one is the football player. There is a twist on it though. My daughter's name is Wrigley. She's named after Wrigley Field, so I kind of want a little bit. The eviction wasn't as bad as it sounds, but basically we rented a house, and it was what, 2011, when everybody was having trouble with mortgages and stuff, and the person I was renting the house from basically had to sell it like in a short sale, and she was not kind enough to tell me that she was going to do it, and literally the eviction notice was on the door the day we brought Wrigley home from the hospital, like giving us a month to get out of there. So it wasn't me like being a horrible father and not paying bills or anything. And then the other thing happened literally last week, and I wouldn't even have brought it up except for my wife gets the win, because when Wrigley said that, I'll explain that in a second. When Wrigley said that, my wife looks at me and goes, "Yeah, do you?" And but they're reading these. There's a million books now. Once your kid turns 10, they're a tween basically, and that's all they care about is being a teenager, and it's everything. And there's a million books now, and they go in. The one she's reading right now, where she got that from, it's 6 girls go to camp, and it's all their individual stories about their bodies kind of changing, and it's really well done. These books are really well done, but they go into so much more detail than they did when we were kids. It's much more personal, and also it shows you that girls are like 500 times smarter than boys, because they're so much more in tune with all that, and there's just much more discussion about it, and it's really, and guys are just like, I have a penis.
Yeah. I mean, I have 2 girls, so I'm terrified of what's coming, and they're already kind of acting. I mean, she's 7, and she's already like,
oh yeah,
I'm not going to make it.
I'm sorry, man.
You're not going to believe the difference between 9 and 10. It's really, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Based on your explanation about what they're reading, I think I'm really going to dial down this whole teaching my daughters how to read thing. Slow that down a little bit.
See, I'm from my parenting style is like, I grew up Jehovah's Witness and Catholic, and they sheltered me from everything. And so when I hit a certain age, like 15, 16, I was like, I just went insane, because I didn't know what the real world was. You know what I mean? I didn't even know what curse words were until I was like that age. And so my whole thing as a parent now is like, prepare her for everything. People are going to be offering her joints. Hey, I have a friend, we have a mutual friend, Jamie, who's, I can't say who it is, but I just haven't talked to him all year. His 15-year-old son has been in rehab for the whole year. 15. So at 14, he went into rehab. So you need to get those kids ready for everything. Boys do want to, get in those pants. Get that message out there quick. It's like,
I got to find out who the mutual friend is, because I would love a couple months in rehab. Is there a way I mean, does insurance cover it? Do you know anything about it? Is there a way I can just, because I'll go grab an 8-ball somewhere. I don't know where anymore.
It was that does sound like a okay time.
I mean, John Mulaney was the smartest dad during the pandemic. He was like, look, I need 3 months away from these kids. Give me an 8-ball. Let's rock and roll this, Jack. I can't take it anymore. That's crazy, dude. That's so funny. All right, here's my 3. You ready? I don't know why I saved myself for last, but I did. And so, listen, some of you guys know some of these stories, so don't tip it. If you know, which Mike Beatrice knows, because Mike was the one who carried me home from most times I was passed out somewhere. All right, number 1, my dog peed in my mouth. Number 2, my daughter once asked if I had a tail. Or she asked me why I had a tail. Number 3, my daughter was a model on a box of Pampers. Help yourself, gentlemen. Well, I got quiet. Got real quiet.
Yeah.
I know.
Three.
All right. If you know the answers, do you be quiet? Freddie, what do you think?
I'm going to say 3, only because I think your kids and my kids were in diapers around the same time, and I don't remember seeing her on any boxes.
It's fair.
Maybe. Jay?
Yeah, I'll say number 3. I think you've probably been sort of protective of your daughters and Hollywood and getting them out there in front of cameras.
Oh, if it paid, I would have done it. I mean, if it would have helped, I would have put them on a milk cart. It would have been fine. But anyway, all right. John, what do you think?
Hang on. What was the second one?
Daughter
Why
once
you have
asked me if I had a tail. She asked me why I had a tail. And the first one was dog peed in my mouth.
No, I know that one. That one's yeah.
That's the problem with being an autobiographical comic. All my good stories, like the time I fell asleep with a pint of chocolate fudge brownie in my chest, and then woke up with a brown puddle on my chest and wondered, "Oh my God, I shit my chest." Those are unfortunately stories that became part of my act because they were real, and they all happened to you as well, and that's why everyone laughed at them.
Yep.
So, all right, John. So, what do you got?
I'm gonna chime in with them and say 3 only because I want the other 2 to be true.
Jeff, what do you think?
I'm gonna say 2. I'm just saying 2.
I guess that's it, everybody. Jay, everybody chimed in, right? Most of you guys know the stories because here's the other thing. We did the Dadlands hang so much, and I literally ran my act. And you guys, I remember you guys rewriting some of my jokes. You're like, Jamie, I have some notes. It was great. And so I got a lot of jokes out of it, but yes. I used to bathe with the kids when they were first born, Jeff, both of them. I'm Irish Catholic, so it's not really we don't show our stuff pretty much, but I had a towel over it, a wet towel, so that it wasn't so much to hide it, but because kids, when they're at that age, like 1 and 2, they just grab everything. And I was like, well, I'm going to hide my junk. And so I guess one day I was getting out of the tub and I was drying myself off. And my daughter was like, Daddy, how come you have a tail? And I was like, that was the last time we took a bath together, by the way. Yeah. And then I said, I was embarrassed, but then I also said, hey, do me a favor. Make sure you remind your mother that your father has a tail. And then the dog did pee in my mouth. Dog peed in my mouth, man. We had a huggle. And I brought him to the new house, and I was trying to show him where he lived. And I was trying to use like the dog whisperer mentality of like, so when he was in a certain part of the house, I was like, hey, you're my buddy, and here's some treats, and we're friends, and this is where you live, and this is your part of the house. And then I would just let him go to the part of the house he was not allowed in. And when he did, I would like lose my mind and go, you don't belong here. Get out of this side of the house. And then he'd go back to the other side of the house. And I go, there you go, buddy. That's how we do it. Here's some treats for you. And then he would go to the bad side of the house. And I go, you don't do it. And I'd flip him over and hold him down on his back in a submissive position so that he would learn that he was not allowed in that side of the house. This was me thinking this was going to go great. So he was on one side. I watched the dog whisperer a lot. So he's on one side of the house and I'm like, hey, who's my buddy? Here's a snack for you. He goes to the other side of the house. I flip him on his back and I put him down to the ground and I go, you don't go in this side of the house. But he got scared. And he's a puggle, and he was staring at me, but he started peeing. And I was holding him so close. He literally, you know how he was like projectile vomited right into the glass? Peed right.
He thought he was submissive, but it turns out he was submissive.
His stream of urine went right in my mouth. And I could see his eyes, and he could see the urine going in my mouth. And his fear went to like trying to grasp what just happened. And then from then on, there was always this look between the two of us where he's like, I pissed in your mouth. And I was like, fuck you. Like there was this anger between the two of us that was never resolved. And it's always been this like uncomfortable moment between the dog and I where he always has that on me. And no matter what I ever do to him, if I don't give him his, like, he's like, fine, hold back snacks, whatever, dude. I pissed in your mouth. Like there's a weird jam between us. And yeah, my wife submitted my daughter when they had my daughter was bald for the first 2 years of her life, and she had like a bowling ball, like just this monstrous. Of course, kids are cute to you, but you're like, is my kid cute to everyone else? But my wife was like, and she submitted her photo to like the Pampers box. She's like, we're going to be on a Pampers box. I go, what do you mean? She goes, well, I submitted. I go, along with 3 million other people. Right. We're never being to be, and we never were on them. Sometimes people will call me to have my kids like audition for stuff, and I go, they're offer only, dude. Call me if you have the cash. I go, my kids are not going through the audition hell and self-destructive mentality of anything that I went through. Like, if you want to hire them, I'll come work with them and they'll do the do, but they're not gonna pour themselves out like I did for 20 years. So. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how the show was, but it was, again, like our Thursday hang, for me as a parent, it's always so cathartic to hang with my buddies and hear really funny stories of nightmares that we all kind of lived through. Although Jeff seemed to have the greatest pandemic of all time. He was working constantly, and he got to just stay at a different residence away from his family. So
yeah, my son thanks you for his Thursday night reward.
Thursday night reward. Oh, nice. Okay. All right, listen, we went way long. We were only supposed to go an hour, but I mean, we had so many guys, and honestly, I don't know how the show was, but I wanted to do this because I really was like, it was so cathartic to me to hear stories from just regular guys. And a lot of times, Jeff probably knows this too, we do so many shows, like it's all celebrity driven, and you talk to a celebrity dad and, you know, they're kind of living in a comfort level of like, oh, you know, I had my second assistant and we had a doula. And then you talk to real people who are trying to raise their kids, like Mike, who's sitting there going, yeah, we got divorced right before the pandemic hit and we were living in the same apartment. And it starts to, instead of, judging ourselves against others and keeping up with the Joneses, we start to realize how lucky we all are in the moment. Does everyone feel that way?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Even with that, I feel very lucky about my girls and how it's all gone. I have no complaints.
None?
Well, until I lose my kids again.
Yeah, we won't talk about it. All right, Jason, anything else you want to wrap up, brother?
No, I'm just keep thinking about, the heaviness of because my kids are so young, and then I hear, these guys talking about the reading material suddenly shifting very, very, very abruptly, and like it's Harold and the Purple Crayon one day and Curious George finds the clitoris the next, and it's a little rough.
I'm telling you, it's we have a Saturday night movie night, and that's I'm sure you guys go through that as parents, and you'll go through it even more as they get older, is when you show them a movie and you're like, I do not remember this movie being so goddamn dirty or so many. Like 10 Things I Hate About You was one of them, and I was like 10 minutes into it, I'm like, no, we're not. This is
the Tom Hanks Big, that like that one.
Yeah, exactly. No, movies like that. We watched a really, what was it? It wasn't Major League, but it was one of those kind of movies recently. But oh shit, I can't remember what it was. But there were so many dick jokes in the beginning of it. I'm like, we can't. I didn't remember any of that. But now she's only 10 and a half, but they're all, these girls are all like, online, just talking. And I'll say like, I'll be like, I think that went over her head. Oh, Notting Hill. That was it. Notting Hill is the horniest movie. It's so dirty. And she was like, I was like, oh, I think it went over her head to Bren. And she's like, it didn't go over my head. And I'm like, you're 10 and a half. But they know it all now.
Well, Jeff, do you think that they see things on the internet that they're not, like my daughter is really sneaky with her iPad, and she's only 7. And all of a sudden I walked in the room the other day and she was like, and all of a sudden she was like, I go, give me that iPad. And I was like scrolling back.
YouTube doesn't have an FCC, so all these YouTube influencers that they love YouTube between 7 and on. It's all about YouTube influencers. Mm-hmm. Nobody's monitoring what those kids are saying. Who knows what those girls and they go through 40 of those clips a day. I mean, easily. I mean, like, whereas as a kid, we would watch 1 or 2 shows. They're watching 40 different posts from all their favorite people. And these are 22-year-old girls usually that they're following. Mm-hmm. you know that, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. They're saying stuff in there that, like, I'm not saying it's awful like porn, but it's like
It's not great.
Yeah,
No, it's not horrible.
So what's the answer? How do we fix this? Here's the problem: is I can't just take the iPad away for the rest of their life.
You know, the answer is you got to keep the communication going. There's a real world out there. And I don't want the world to come crashing on her. I want her to be like, you know what? I'm ready for this. I know this scenario exists. I go to a party, my friend gets drunk. We need to get her out of here. You know what I mean? It's like you can't have this world is much more explicit than the world we grew up in, and they got to be ready for it.
Mm-hmm. Well, the other hard part is like each new platform that comes along comes with a whole new set of parameters that I have to learn. Like, she's all of a sudden I'm like, well, I kind of knew Facebook, and then I knew Instagram, and I kind of know this, and I'm like, wait, what's the next one? And by the time in 5 more years when she's really doing it, it's going to be on to like exponentially something else, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with it. Like,
are any of your kids into Roblox yet?
What is it?
Roblox?
No.
It's Minecraft. It's like Minecraft for girls, and it's huge. It's valued at something in the billions right now, because basically girls go online and they can like accessorize their little girls, and they trade, and it's a whole thing. It's like Grand Theft Auto with dresses, you know, and the big Royal High, the big premise of that game is you build your dress, and then you have a fashion show, but it looks like a fucking strip club, internet strip club, and they go on and people judge. Like 10 girls go on the stage. They get their chance to go. Now it's your turn, Wrigley, to go on stage. Or they don't use their real names, but you know, Starfire, and they go on stage, and then the other kids in the internet judge who had the prettiest dress. It's like, that's.
Oh,
I mean, it's you're getting internet like valuated by these other girls you don't even know.
So but if you just say you can't do that anymore, will she just lose her mind?
I mean, it's
hard.
You know, I mean, obviously, when she has one night a week where she can do it, Friday nights with her friends, you know, and the friends are all vetted, and they can never let strangers into their little pods, and you keep, you know, you can hear what they're saying, and you can't see what they're typing, but you can hear that. You know, I think you just. What are you going to do? You tell them they can't do something all their friends are doing? I mean, you know, it's like,
yeah, you can't.
TikTok is, I mean, hundreds of billions of dollars, and, you know, everybody's doing it. You know, it's like, you just got to teach them to do it with responsibility, you know?
Yeah.
See, look, youngest plays Roblox all the time. It's nuts. But my fave, they watch YouTube with other kids playing Roblox. Same here. And my wife is the Gestapo. I mean, Wrigley plays so much less than the other kids she's friends with.
But I don't want it, dude. I don't want that job. I don't want to play Gestapo. And I feel like every day it's me trying to hold them back from becoming adults, like holding the reins, just going, dude, this game's not right for you. This game, this movie, this is nothing. And I don't want to do that. It's
I'm a gamer from way back. I know we're trying to close this up. I'm a gamer from way back, but I'm more scared. Thank God I don't have a boy. We just went over to a friend's house last week, and his boy played a Fortnite for like the whole time we were there, like 4.5 hours, and it's just like a 9-year-old just with the headphones listening to I'm gonna kill you, you fucking kill you. It's like, that's not good for your developing brain, man. We had like, you know, Pac-Man. That shit is not good. I'm so glad I have a girl, not a boy, because that shooting stuff, they're way too young for that, man, in my opinion.
Dude,
it's so much more immersive.
Yeah.
Then, like you said, the video games we played. I mean, it's just now like everything is like, I bought myself a Nintendo Switch, and I literally play like old Super Nintendo games on it, or like golf. And some of these kids are just playing this crazy stuff. I'm like, I can't get into this. Like, I don't know how you do these like hours and days long campaigns. I can't do it. You know.
I don't know. And Pac-Man never called me a little bitch either.
I mean, I'm trying.
That's an ender right there.
Honestly, I agree. That is the ender. Seriously, I don't know how this show was received, but it was the most cathartic for me because it was the same thing. We did this during the entire pandemic with you guys, especially. And that's why I kind of reached out to a bunch of you guys to come play because it felt for me, it felt like The View, like Council of Dads. And it kind of makes me feel like, oh, I'm not alone. I'm dealing with all this crap and we're trying to get through this thing. But man, it is every week. It's another couple of hurdles to try to get over to raise these kids. And I'm like, I don't think my parents ever had to put up with this shit. You know, it's painful, super painful. So, listen, we're going to let everybody go. Big thanks to Jay Check, Mike Beatrice, Jeff Telly, Freddie Ballesteros, and John Mixon. We'll let them all go. And then Jason.
Wow. What a show, right?
Yeah. It was funny. I kind of said, hey, I want to do this. And you reach a point where you go, I don't care anymore. And for me, it was really cathartic and I loved it. We did the little game to kind of get people instigated to tell stories, but it's just fun to talk to other dads sometimes and understand that,
I like the other perspectives. I like the other perspectives, and I like that to seeing where other parents are at in there. Because I'm very new in this, so I'm just kind of discovering some of this. So I take some of that stuff to heart and kind of process it for what the road is going to look like for me coming up.
Well, we're going to have Jeff back because he's got the girls older, so I can kind of learn from that. So, hey, thanks to everybody who joined us today, and Jason. And we're doing the Scotch tasting for Father's Day. We'll start posting for that soon.
Yes.
And we'll catch you guys next week here on the Parents Lounge.
Good night, everybody.